Now, Lone Wolf writes in, he says, I'll do a fun one. If you could have any sports film made, who or what team would it be about? So in this hypothetical, I'm the one making the documentary, making the film. I would make a documentary about failed quarterbacks. I'd probably call it just straight up failed quarterbacks. And I'd want to interview them. I'd want to talk to their family. I'd want to talk to analysts. What happened to said player? And it might be actually better as either, it could be a long, 2-hour-long documentary. It might be better, though, as a multi-part series where each episode highlights a certain quarterback. But I'd want to talk to guys like, here's a couple names. Tim Tebow, Brady Quinn, Blake Bortles, Jason Campbell, Brock Osweiler, Rex Grossman, Paxton Lynch, Mark Sanchez, Jimmy Clausen, the guy drafted to the Carolina Panthers. What would you say about your career? I guess it's also interesting to ask, like if I asked Mark Sanchez, I said, hey, dude, why were you a failure? And then even be like, do you consider yourself a failure? It's interesting. There's so much blood, sweat, and tears that goes into becoming an NFL quarterback. I'm a failed quarterback in my own right. I never lived up to my own hopes and dreams. And so I think it's incredibly relatable to talk to a guy who maybe didn't live up to their dreams. Their dreams didn't quite come to fruition. Like what happened to Jimmy Clausen? What is he doing now? How does he feel about his career? What would he say about what happened to him? Because he had a lot of expectations coming out of Notre Dame and never panned out. What do you say? Like, what do their family say about them? What do analysts say? I know hearing from maybe the Panthers why they drafted Jimmy Clausen, that's interesting to me. There's a story there, and every failed quarterback, quote-unquote failed quarterback, has a story. And whether they're a failure or not, like Blake Bortles might not feel like he's a failure. He's still in the NFL. He took his team to an AFC championship game. That's interesting. There's just so many good storylines there. And how guys explain what that happened in their career and reliving those moments, answering hard questions, sharing some of their pain. There's probably tremendous heartache for guys like Brady Quinn or, Brock Osweiler, Paxton Lynch. These are guys who had high expectations and never quite lived up to them. There's a story there for sure. And so if I could make any kind of film or documentary in the sports world, really, that's, if someone said unlimited budget, I'd probably remake the Star Wars prequels because I really want to make the Phantom Menace be good. I got a really fun idea there. And then after that, my next idea would probably literally be to make a film about failed quarterbacks. Now, a Star Wars movie's never going to happen. No one's ever going to fund that. I think if there's ever anything I could possibly have a realistic shot at making, it is this idea. I'd have a blast with it. I'd know what questions to ask. I'd know who to talk to. Their high school coach, the guy who drafted them, their dad, their mom, the guy himself. Hopefully analysts that would talk to me. Trent Dilfer would be interesting to hear from because he coached a lot of these guys in high school. Like, I have so many questions, and it'd be fun to dive into why these guys didn't make it or even their hearts. Like, how do they feel about whether they made it or not? If I could make any film in the sports world, I would make a documentary about quote-unquote failed quarterbacks and even answering the question, again, did they fail or not in their own eyes? It's incredibly fascinating to me. And we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 episodes right there with Tim Tebow, Brady Quinn, Blake Bortles, Jason Campbell, Rex Grossman, Brock Osweiler, Paxton Lynch, Jimmy Clausen, and Mark Sanchez. Guys, I would love to do that. And I guess maybe the benefit of putting it out there in this stupid Ask Zach segment, maybe someone hears it, wants to contact me. Let's do it. I'd love to make that happen if anyone wants to. And please don't steal my idea. I'd be so disappointed. Now, these are guys I'd love to make a film analysis for. It's down the road someday. Like, I want to dive into the film of Rex Grossman. Like, what the heck happened? But the reality is I want to talk to him, too. How cool would that be? And so, yeah, if I could make any documentary in the sports world, that's what it would be.